Felicitations! It is me, Felicia Day, and this is, in fact, my podcast. Long time no hear. It has been a very busy spring, y'all. I can't talk about some of the things I've been working on, but they've been super fun. A little bit of hosting, a little bit of writing. I have so many projects in process, and they have been in process for many months. And I do feel like, wow, you need to maybe get stuff out there. But you know what? I am announcing a new project this week, if you listen to this week. And I will tell you more about it later. But I do want to catch up because it's been quite a long time. And basically, it's been good. I guess the biggest thing on my mind to talk about is my spring break trip because my other podcast, Undressing, is quite negligent. We will finish The Witcher at some point. I know we will. I've been out of town many weekends for conventions. I have 2 coming up. If you are in Philadelphia, you could see me this weekend. And I will be at Motor City in Detroit. And then I'm kind of taking June and July off. I think I might have one at the end of June. Anyway, it's going to be a slow con summer because I'm really just trying to spend time with my kiddos. So if you want to see me, those are the 2 opportunities in May, Detroit and Philadelphia. And other than that, I have been traveling for work. I had a film premiere, Tim Travers and the Time Travel Paradox. It's been winning a lot of awards around the country. Best sci-fi genre movie of the festivals. And that's very exciting. I'm really hoping that it gets released somewhere. Indie films are a little bit strange in that if you don't have a huge star in them, it's really hard to get distribution. But this one keeps getting a lot of good reviews and heat. And if you check my Instagram usually, I am telling people where to go. I think they have a Seattle Film Festival. It's going to be there. I can't go up because I have another job, but it's going to be a big, big one up there next weekend on the 11th of May. So if you're there, go. And if you like it, leave an IMDb review because those reviews actually mean a lot for distributors. So that's what's going on with that project. I actually, it's exciting to have an on-camera project. I have 2 other shorts that are being entered in a lot of film festivals. I'm hoping they end up somewhere to be seen by y'all. And yeah, it's been a really good year. I feel like good energy. I'm really settled and saying no to a lot of things I don't want to do. I've said yes to a lot of really fun things that'll be coming up voiceover-wise, all this other stuff. And I have a huge project that I'm launching. But first, before the big project, I will talk to you about my spring break that was at the end of March or in beginning of April. Because, yeah, it was a month ago, but it was such a disaster. Not a disaster. It had some foie pas. It had some problems, but overall it was super fun. So my daughter got 2 weeks off for spring break and I decided to do an epic road trip because we traveled internationally a lot last year. And I was just like, I don't want to get on the plane with the kid. I'm not in the mood to do that right now. We went to Copenhagen. No, she didn't go to Copenhagen, but we went to Costa Rica and Greece. And I think one international trip with a kid a year, financially and logistically, is probably the best thing to do. So, but it was really good. So we did this road trip and I was like, oh, we're going to see all of California. So we're going to go to sequoias and see those trees. And then we're going to go up to the redwoods and see those trees. And in between, we're going to go to Calistoga and get the hot springs. And then we're going to go to Carmel and see those trees and the aquarium in Monterey. And then we'll go home. We did all that just a little bit unexpectedly. Going to the Sequoia National Forest, which is one of the treasures of the world, but maybe not at the beginning of April. Because to fend myself, I did look up because I know it's colder in Northern California than where I live in Southern California. There is a myth, though, that Southern California is hot. It's not that hot, y'all. It's usually like 75 degrees year-round, so it's kind of perfect, but I think we don't say that to people, so more people won't move here. Anyway, so I did look at the weather, and I did notice that the sequoias were, in their 30s. And I said, oof, that's pretty cold. I'm going to bring a jacket. I brought one single jacket. And I did get the kid her puffy coat, which is a very thin puffy coat, but to me that's like snow wear. It's not, because when we got there at the sequoias, I'm driving into the national forest and I'm like, chains required. What is a chain? I literally had no idea. So I asked the woman at the kiosk, I was like, what is a chain? She's like, oh, you don't have chains? Oh, you're staying at the hotel? Well, you got to go get chains. I was like, what are you talking about? We're in the middle of nowhere. She said, the restaurant down at the bottom of the mountain has chains for rent. You have to have them in case the road is, iced over. And I said, what? It's April. She's like, wait till you get up there. So I got the chains and I was like, I don't know how to do this. There's no internet anywhere. So I'm like, I try to download a YouTube video on how to put chains in my car. And I'm like, well, I guess we'll see. And mind you, this is a winding 2-lane road with a sheer drop on the side. And they're warning me about ice on the road. No railing, no nothing. And they did, in fact, say, yeah, you really need your chains because yesterday we had a collision and one of the cars went over the edge. They're okay. Who knows if that's true? But maybe bring the chains. So I'm like freaking out. And I'm crawling up here 1,000. So we're at like, we start at like 2,000 meters high, above sea level. 3, 4, 5. Every 1,000 feet or meter, I don't know. Every 1,000 we go down 10 degrees. So we start at like 65, 55, 45, 35. Finally, we get to the, thank God, area that the hotel I'm staying at, which was great. It just was covered in snow. Like, I'm not talking like, oh, it's a thin dusting. Because I wanted to go hiking. I was like, let's do something, woodsy. No. Save that for the summer, girl, because there's 7 feet of snow. Yes, they had to plow out the sidewalk from the front of the hotel to all the rooms. And I was slipping. I was like pushing this cart with all the luggage on it, and I'm pushing it over ice. I've got just plain sneakers on, and it's not a robust coat. I thought it was. And my daughter is like, yay, snow angels, Mama, I'm cold. I'm like, yeah, because this is stupid. So I called down immediately. I said, we're checking out tomorrow. I don't need a refund. They're like, we're going to give you a refund because everybody wants to come up here. I'm like, who are these people? And I literally was talking to the front desk guy, and he was like, yeah, I don't go out in the winter. I lived in L.A., and I came up here now. The first winter was traumatic for me. And I was like, what do people do in the snow here? He's like, I don't know. Oh, I mean, not helpful, but honest. I like the guy. So anyway, we got out of there a day early, and I'm like white-knuckling it up and white-knuckling it down. God forbid I had brought the electric vehicle, because we would have run zero gas. I did fill up before we went up. So, but any scenario can be bad. And then some people are zooming. I'm like, who are you? Are you just, do you have cleats on your tires, sir? Did not have to put the chains on. That's the only good thing. They had cleared out enough with the salt and stuff. But I hit a couple patches of ice, and I have never driven on ice before. And I'll tell you, don't need to do it again. That's terrifying. So we go to Calistoga a day for early and stay 3 nights there. And we stayed at this Calistoga Motor Lodge, which was fine hotel. It was buy 2 nights, get 1 free. And I was like, this is fate. Because I literally paid for 2 nights anyway, and I got the 3rd night free. And then I got a refund, all that. So I actually saved money. That was cool. You know how things like that happen? You're like, wow, somebody's taking care of me. So that was great because they have huge pools there that are 90 degrees. And as a person who can't swim and hates any outdoor water, I was in heaven. Mama was like, ooh, I'm hanging in the hot tub. And the kid was splashing. She found another kid to splash. It was, I got to tell you, lovely. And Napa is so pretty. And there's so much good food. I wasn't drinking wine at the time. And I TikToked about that. And people are like, are you pregnant? I'm like, no. I am just on antibiotics because I have a severe sinus infection, which I had had for like a month and a half, but I didn't realize it was a sinus infection, and I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't breathe, and it was a mess. So I was finally on antibiotics, and they were like, don't take alcohol, and I was like, wait, I'm going to Napa. But I don't really drink anymore anyway because I've developed kind of an intolerance to it. And as you know from my infrequent updates, my health has been quite an obsession. But I'll tell you, I'm healthier than I've ever have been. And I feel really good. And when I'm disciplined about what I eat, especially before dinner, I sleep so much better. It's all about sleep, guys. I don't know. Maybe that's a lady in her 40s. So it was great. And then we drove up the coast to Mendocino because I just always wanted to go up there. It was not that thrilling, but it was a cool, again, white knuckle ride up the coast. Beautiful redwoods, cute little places to stay. Stayed at this beautiful place called the Little River Inn, which was so pretty. And the food was, not as good as Napa, but who can compete with Napa, man? One of my favorite restaurants is, I can't remember it now. I'll put it in the description. Maybe not. Ad Hoc. That's it. I bailed on it and then I finally remembered it. Ad Hoc. It's like owned by the French Laundry people, but it's like cheap. It's just, 3 courses of food. They specialize in fried chicken. So good. And one of the waiters remembered me from last time. And I literally had not been there for 8 years. I was like, dude, wow. Big tabletop fan. So that was exciting. And that was it, and then on the way home, stopped in Carmel and went to the Monterey Aquarium, which was a thrill because my kid loves she loves all things ocean and reptile. She wants a gecko, and I was like, you got to let the fish die. Yeah, the $500 fish that we got for free at the fair that I have spoken about. Yeah, he's still alive. He has a lot of fin rot, and I keep treating the water, and I'm like, it's not growing back. Maybe he's just rotten inside. I don't know. I feel guilty. I know I need to watch a YouTube video and completely revamp the tank. I keep it clean and I change the water and I put the fin rot stuff in and it just doesn't. Dude, I don't know, man. And then I looked it up and he probably will die soon, okay? I'm fine with that. I know I did my best for him. But then my daughter got this bottom feeder catfish, albino, little creep, Speedy 2, because Speedy 1 jumped out in a horrific accident when I forgot to put the cover back on and the heater was overheating because the power strip was broken and spiking. It was a horrible situation last year. I'm sure you don't remember because it's not that important in anybody else's life. But anyway, so Speedy 2 is this albino dwarven catfish creep. Absolute creep. I don't think they have eyelids. Just total creep. Doesn't do anything. No interaction. At least the betta fish comes over when I want to feed him and I literally have to drop the pieces of food in front of his face or he won't get them. He won't turn his body around. And then it goes in the filter and then I got to fill them out. It's just a torture. It's torture. Never have fish. So anyway, Speedy 2 potentially could live 5 to 8 years. Absolutely not acceptable. I want these fish gone. She wants a gecko. Not getting a gecko until these fish died. Okay? Somebody has to die in the house to make room for another. That's literally the bottom line about the pets. Because who does everything? Pretty much me. Anyway, that was my spring break rant. And I will say, just check the weather. Check the weather where you go. I do it all the time. And, I don't have a relative sense for what cold is. Like, I'll see 50 degrees. And, I'll be like, oh, I need a sweater. It's cold. That's a cold temperature. To a little hothouse flower like me who grew up in the South. Never had anything. I was recently in London for a job. I just popped over for a little bit. And, again, didn't really look at the weather. Thought, hey, I don't know. It says it's drizzling. It was pouring the whole time. Anyway, so things have been good like that. I have not been streaming as much. The last month has been, I told everybody about it, but I really miss my streaming. Honestly, it's my favorite thing of the week. And I was going to stream a lot more this week, but I am launching something tomorrow. Hey, here's my pitch to my new thing. And I really want to, I just really would like to share about it because if you are a 3D printer, yes, Felicia has a new side project. I have a new side project and it's really, really cool. So as you know, I've been trying not to have side projects, but I was approached by this company called Thangs.com to do my own line of 3D printed objects. Now, I have been one of those people who sort of window gazes at 3D printers and just always I'm thinking, I want in on that world. I want in on there. And my daughter recently, at her school, they have a maker lab, and she's been bringing back little things she printed up, and just the joy in her face is so pleasing that I've been meaning to get into it. But yeah, where's the newbie's guide to 3D printers? There's none out there. And the one time I looked on Reddit about, like, somebody asked a basic question, 3 or 4 of the comments were like, why would you ask such a stupid question? That's so obvious. That's the most obvios thing. Why? Why are you here? And I was like, well, they're here for help, and you're clearly not giving it to them. So it's one of those sort of hobbies / subcultures that feels like, oh, wow, I don't see a friendly hand reaching out to me to get into it. So the good thing is that I met Paul, the CEO from Thangs, at a convention. I started talking to him. He was like, wow, this is really cool. You're into this. Would you want to do something? And I was like, sure. Next thing I know, I got a 3D printer on my doorstep. Thank you, Paul. I was only looking for tips on what to buy. And then he's like, let's do a whole line of printed objects that you design with designers. And I was like, what? You're going to help me? You're going to help me do this? This is very exciting. And I get to work with designers? I mean, it's so cool. So anyway, guys, from now on, on thangs.com/FeliciaDay3D, you could go, and every month I will be uploading at least 5 prints a month for you to enjoy. I'm working with all different designers. I have 3 that I'm working with this month for May, and we might be adding some. A lot of it is just kind of like, I don't know, who's going to show up? Are my fans 3D printers? And what do they want to see? So we're doing things in the realm of cosplay and jewelry, RPGs, and tabletop, paraphernalia, and stuff to make for or with your kid. So I was like, oh, what would I want to do? These 3 areas. So that's what we're going to concentrate on. For the first month, we have 2 beautiful necklaces that I worked very closely with a designer named Kaizen 3D, who is a brilliant textile designer. I can't tell you how fascinated I am with his process, and what I loved about developing with him was just the iterations and just the sort of drive to get it right or refine or experiment. That's the kind of thing I'm usually afraid of. I'm of like doing something that I know that's not going to work just to see how it works. And he's like the opposite. So I love it. We're going to do a whole line, but this month we have just one of them out, which is a D20 horoscope necklace. So whether your character or you are a Cancer or not, if you like RPG stuff, it's a beautiful sort of talisman. I want it to feel like some kind of loot, and it's so delicate and beautiful around the edges. And the Cancer sign, and the crab has the actual symbol of the Cancer sign and the constellation in it, and it's just really, really pretty. The second thing we designed was a little bit more advanced because he has special plates and stuff that he uses, but they can be modified for whatever printer you have. It's a Mother's Day necklace. I've always, I just love jewelry. I love big statement pieces, and I had a couple of inspirational ideas where we refined it to print these beautiful jewels on the 3D printer. The filament is so pretty. Filament is like the stuff that squirts out and you melt and basically turns into the plastic object you're making. So we did all sorts of colors. There was even one kind of filament that is UV sensitive, so it's white. And then when you put it under UV light, like a black light, or just take it out in the sun, it turns dark pink, and it's so cool. The one that I settled on was like a multicolored, and it has a heart in it because it is Mother's Day. So if you have a mother in your life or just a person in your life who likes necklaces, the jewels are on toile, so it kind of is see-through. So you just see these gems sort of floating on your chest, and I just love it so much. And it was such an amazing process. Okay, we made that. I worked with Mimetics 3D, another amazing designer who has like this thing he invented to get, those floppy dragons at conventions? Yeah, those are all printed in one. So basically, it all just comes out like that, which is brilliant. But you can't lock their bodies or the legs so that they're not flopping around. But Mimetics has a technique where you can do that. And we designed this little spider because my kid claims she's an arachnophobe, but she loves spiders, but she screams when she sees them. So I thought making a cute little spider with a party hat on would be pretty awesome. We named him Webmaster Fred, and she can either use it to trick people or just maybe kind of soften her fear of spiders. So it's super cute. We're going to be working on more of those objects as well. And then last but not least, Moonlight Minis, who's freaking amazing, worked with me to make Guild Minis. That's right, Guild Minis. A dream come true. We made Vork and Codex this month. There'll be 2 more next month, and etc. And we have other ideas for minis. And what I really want to do is collaborate with the people who have 3D printers who like what I do, so that we can I could be guided, or you guys have input into what we make next. So if you subscribe to the service, which is basically like $10 a month, you get 5 prints to download a month. And basically you get the whole catalog pretty much, unless we have like more than 5 that we upload, which we'll see how we grow. And so for $10 a month, you can subscribe, and then you'll get a special badge or role on Discord on the Discord, and we have a 3D printer channel where I'll be interacting and taking your suggestions and influencing kind of what we design. If you have designers you love, I'd love to hear about them, etc., etc. Because, the wonderful thing is I can really feature people's, creativity and my own. It's just so fun to collaborate, y'all. It really is great. So I hope you check it out. It's at thangs.com/FeliciaDay3D. Thangs.com/FeliciaDay3D. You can also just buy the one print. If you're like, I only want a Codex. That's I think it's like $6.99. You can always just buy one. Totally fine. You won't get the VIP role, but you can still come and hang out in the 3D printing channel. So it's all good. I want it to be, this is an experiment for me. And I'm learning too. I actually was printing a whooper that I got a program for. And to be very clear, you need a 3D printer for this. I'm not sending the objects. You download the kind of file, and then you put it in your 3D printer, and your 3D printer makes it, right? So this is just a blueprint in a sense. And some of them have specifications that will come in the file download for you to help guide you make it properly. So, but I was making a whooper for my daughter because she loves whooper and Clodsire, as a Pokemon, and it actually clogged, and I freaked out because, y'all, I'm not a handy person. If something breaks, I'm like, I don't know what to do with it, throw it out, or call the police. So when I was like, Felicia, this is a time for you to be empowered. And I got on YouTube, and I went to YouTube University, and I watched 4 or 5 videos, and I took that thing apart with an Allen wrench. And I was digging in it. I got filament pieces out from all parts of it. And guess what? I fixed it. Yeah, I fixed that thing. I'm like a mad woman. I felt so empowered. Oh my God. It was like I was Leonardo da Vinci. Anyway, so that's my new thing. I really hope you check it out. And I hope just seeing the journey maybe inspires you to get a little 3D printer. I was given a Bamboo X1 Carbon, which is a very sophisticated, pricey 3D printer. It can print multiple filaments at once. But from what I understand, the Bamboo A1, they have a couple other models that are much more affordable. And they're the easiest to get into. That's what everyone says. I'm not being paid by Bamboo to do that. I've never played around with the other ones. I know that it's not a resin printer, and resin is like a more sturdy, like smooth type of thing. There's all sorts of kinds of things that you can print with. I've been looking at YouTube University. I've been getting a crash course. I'm now a fan of a lot of like 3D printers. It really is sort of the tinkerer in you. It appeals to. And it's a learning curve, and that's why I'm here. I'm not doing it. I just want to grow and learn new things, and hopefully you guys can join me. So thanks.com/FeliciaDay3D. As far as things I've been consuming, boy, I have not been going. I can't watch TV anymore because my daughter goes to sleep at 9, and I stumble out of her room, and I am asleep. And I feel I'll read some lit RPG, and that's it, man. I don't know what to tell you. I have been watching things like Fallout. Oh my God, so good. On my, during the day. It feels like playing hooky, but I am on the treadmill walking when I watch, and I feel like, oh, okay. I'm doing quote unquote work. And I'm working out, so double work. So I feel so self-righteous about that. And, that's it. it does feel like an indulgence, and there doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day for me to consume everything I want to consume, yada, yada. It's typical. And I miss my streams. I had to cut down to like twice a week this year. And it feels like for the last month, it's barely been once a week. And I don't know. If anything really gives me fuel and makes me happy, and the stability of the regularity of it as well, it keeps me mentally healthy, it's streaming. And I know that it's not, my full-time job, but it's my full-time community. And I do feel like I'm neglecting people. Of course, as a podcast listener, you're like, oh, community being neglected, huh, Felicia? Huh? It's been 2 months? Sorry. I'm very, very sorry. I have been playing this wonderful game called Backpack Battles, and that is really, really, really fun. So if it's only on PC, but check it out. It's so brilliant. If it doesn't get transferred to tons of other platforms, I want it on my phone so bad. It's like an inventory management, but it's like you have to put things next to each other in the proper order, and then you go and the machine like battles based on, you battle somebody else based on the configuration. If you screwed it up, you die. Super fun. And I'm actually going to start playing Fallout New Vegas because I'm nostalgic about that, and I'm in the game. So really, really fun. The best Fallout story-wise, let's be honest, right? Right? Ah? All right. And what else is going on with me? Nothing. I mean, my kid, she's so old now, y'all. I don't know what happened when she turned 7. She's like, we read a lot of historical books, and always in one section of either like medieval or Egyptian or ancient Roman or any kind of times, it's like when a child turns 6 or 7 usually, they are sent away to the blacksmith to apprentice. And when they are 7, they are sent away to school. And when they are 7, like basically 7 is the turning point, even in history, where kids would just be like, okay, get out. You're not a baby anymore. You're a grown. I mean, back then you'd be a grown up because you only lived till 30, but you'd be married at like 12, 15. I don't know. But yeah, it's obviously a psychological turning point because she is funny. She is capable. She kicks my butt at board games. And she feels like she's growing away from me. Like she actually does want to go away and see her friends. And I'm like, oh, this is... And I know if you've listened to this podcast for a long time, you know that I had a very hard time transitioning into being a mom. And it was mostly a sleep-based thing that was very mentally harmful to me. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not having another kid. I just can't go through it again. It took me years to recover. Like literally, I just feel like I've recovered this year. And that's been 7 years. So I just couldn't go through it again. And that's okay. That's my decision. And she doesn't, she's always been like, Mama, I don't want any babies in this house. I don't like other babies. No brothers, no sisters. So I'm like, thank God. Because it's real easy to get 3 coach seats, but 4, you're in another aisle, That's the challenge. So, yeah, I'm a little, you know what it is? I looked at her the other day, and she was like biking at a birthday party. And I looked, and I thought, wow, she's so much bigger. But then I thought in 10 years, I'm going to think back on that image of her biking and think, what a little kid she was. I'm about to cry. I'm tearing up because, I was able to, in that moment, really grab the importance of just holding on to every moment and appreciating her every moment. And since that time, I haven't looked at my phone any time around her. Not that I was a hugely neglectful mom, but I would always be like, oh, you were reading a book or you were doing email in front of her, and like, as much as you can, please don't do that. And, that's like my cold sweats in the middle of the night when I want to be anxious. My body's like, what can I be anxious about? Like, you were on the phone. She's going to think back on blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's made me a little bit more, just that's perspective. Also, when I look back on pictures of myself, I didn't appreciate myself when I was 22, So, God, I think the whole struggle of life is just to be like, appreciate this moment and this, and it's very like oovy groovy, like, oh, meditate. No, it's just like, I need to live right now and appreciate right now so that in the future, I don't think, wow, that was a moment that should have been savored a little bit more. That's almost my whole life. And I feel like I'm almost there. I'm at least achieving it. I'm achieving that apex. It's a comfy middle age, Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what to say. It's things are great. I have new things coming out. The Thangs project is, of course, distracting but awesome. And I do have a couple of writing projects on the grill. And guys, as soon as this Thangs thing is out, I think I'm gonna start on my novel. Yes, I have a graphic novel coming out next year. I have another graphic novel proposal I'm finishing up, and I have a one-woman show that I need to rewrite. And then it's going to be novel time for the rest of the year. So I'm hoping, like, by my birthday, it's novel time. That'll be the day that I kick off. And I don't even know exactly what I'm going to write now, but I recently went through old material and I was reading it. I was like, God, this is so good. I didn't remember writing it, but I was like, I can't believe you wrote this, Felicia. I would read this. And I was like, why didn't you follow through? And I was like, because my mind was not with me. My mind was always thinking about end results, what other people would judge it, Hollywood, how useful they would find it. And I was so undermined and discouraged and thought of as not good enough by myself as well as other people, but mostly spurred on by other people. Not being useful to other people made me think I'm not useful to myself. And so I feel like that toxic sort of spiral of just believing other people is a little bit over now, because honestly, my child is so important to me that I'm like, somebody loves me. I'm lovable. So she's given me the strength to be okay, to care for myself in a way. And I think that's really a beautiful thing. And I just want to encourage all of you to think like that too. The externals don't matter as long as you have people in your inner circle who make you feel wonderful, because you are. You are wonderful. All right. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the summer, and there's a couple of conventions happening, but I just want to settle into I want to complete some of these things I've been working on. And so I'll keep popping up on the Felicitations, and I'll keep informing you of new things. Make sure to subscribe to my newsletter, because I am actually consistent with that every month. In fact, I think I have 2 coming out this month, because I'm doing a Thangs one and I want to do another one. I love writing it. I'm a writer. I just need to let myself have the time to do it. But I am also a spewer of my mouth with no editing whatsoever, and you, dear Felicitations listeners, are here for that. So, I know what I didn't talk about. I went to Austin because I was able to narrate Ernie Klein's The Bridge to Bat City, which is a YA novel. So beautiful. It's a love letter to Austin. It's a love letter to bats. And it's just really a special thing. And he asked me to narrate it, which I was so thrilled to do. I can't even tell you. And it was a pleasure. I did use a Southern accent throughout. And after I recorded, I would be like, hey, everybody. How's it going? I'm so happy to see you. It's really awesome. Just thick, thick, thick. So if you're interested in hearing me read you a book, it's out there right now at all audiobook places that you can get it. And yeah, I'm really proud of the work I did. I really, again, don't want to just like flip and flop through things. I don't want to be the person who's like, oh, she's an influencer, let's use her. No, I want people to use me because I'm good. And, the fact that people are interested in me is like a bonus. That's why I'm working on my TikTok, because it's like, oh, I got a manager finally for acting. I know I'm going to get some acting work at some point, crossing fingers. But you know what? If my social media foothold, if it means somebody to somebody, I'm okay. Let's do it. So anyway, all right. Also, we are doing book club this month, and let me see if I could find the name of the book. We have been reading some really good books, and I am stalling because I'm bringing up the Discord where we hang out. It's really great. I'm in the wrong channel. And book club. It's called Final Girls by Riley Sager. And we upload that video to YouTube. We upload it a lot of places. Really good stuff. So please come and enjoy with us. It's erratically scheduled, like everything audio I do. So go to the Discord. Usually it's like the middle of the month. We'll probably do it in like 2 weeks on a Monday or Tuesday. So vague. So awesome. You listen, the secret to internet success is regularity. Watch me not do it. Anyway, I'll see some of you at conventions and online on my Twitch when I get back from Philadelphia. I'll be really regular this summer, so please join me, and I appreciate you guys listening. Bye.